the Anabolic Cookbook is a complete waste of money. It's going to absolutely destroy your health. And if you eat from it, it's going to put you in the hospital, and there's going to be a high chance that you're going to develop cancer. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and it's been a while since I've done a book review for you guys, and that's exactly what I've got for you today. And this comes at the request of Jeffrey Khan, the descendant of the great Genghis Khan. And Jeffrey wants to know, wow, this has to be the most comprehensive review of the book I've seen, and I'm definitely going to pick up a copy and combine Greg's programs with some of your training tips that you mentioned. I've never paid attention to tempo, but I'm definitely going to start now. If it's not too much to ask, can you do a review of Greg's Anabolic Cookbook? It seems like every review I watch is either made by his fans who are just kissing his ass or by haters who are looking for an excuse to shit on it, and I like how you are honest with your reviews and give both the good and bad. Thanks a lot. Well, Jeffrey, you are welcome, and yes, I can absolutely make that review for you. And for those of you who are interested in watching my review of Greg Doucette's Harder Than Last Time training book, I can include a link right up over here to the video that I made last year of it. But before I actually get on with the review of the Anabolic Cookbook, I just want to put out this quick disclaimer, and that is there's really only one reason to purchase a cookbook in 2021, and that is because you wish to support the author. So if you are a fan of Greg Doucette and you wish to support him, you could do that by watching his videos and purchasing his cookbook. If you're not a fan and you don't want to support him, then don't watch his videos and don't purchase the cookbook. But now that we got that out of the way, the number one question that I want to answer in this video is the Anabolic Cookbook worth the money? And in order to answer that, there's a couple things that we need to go through. Number one, do you like the foods that are in this book? Because the number one rule that I have with my nutrition coaching clients is if you don't like it, don't eat it. On this aspect right over here, I can't speak from personal experience because I haven't tried a single recipe from the book. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, you know why that is. Back in 2010, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, so any of the recipes found in this book would put me straight in the hospital, and I don't want to go to the hospital, so I'm not going to be trying any of the recipes in here. And you know that since 2010, I followed more of a paleo/keto approach, and my carb consumption has been less and less over the years to the point where now I'm strict carnivore. But I'm going to put my own nutrition beliefs and my own goals completely off to the side, and I'm going to be completely objective. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to say that the Anabolic Cookbook is a complete waste of money. It's going to absolutely destroy your health, and if you eat from it, it's going to put you in the hospital, and there's going to be a high chance that you're going to develop cancer, because that's absolutely false. And I'm also not going to BS you and say that if you purchase this book, it's a miracle and you're going to be able to accomplish all your goals, because that's also false. What it comes down to is what exactly are your goals, because depending on what exactly your goals are, that is going to determine whether or not you should be buying this book. My main objective whenever I decide to buy a book is I want to make sure that the book is going to save me time, because my time is very, very valuable. I mentioned this in my Harder Than Last Time training review, but I have had recommended books that had been between $600 to $1,000, and they were recommended to me by people that I know and trust. So a lot of people are really going to harp on the $200 price tag, but it's really not that much if it's going to save you a lot of time. There are hundreds of recipes in this book, so you can find all of them for free online, but do you think that the amount of time that it is going to take you to go on all these websites, accumulate all these recipes, and then combine it into your own Word document or PDF is going to be worth the $200? If you find that it's worth it just to do the research on your own, then absolutely do the research on your own. Don't spend the money on the book. If you feel like you just want to have it at your fingertips, nice and neat, and that you don't want to go and spend hours searching for all of these recipes, then go ahead and purchase the book. Me personally, the reason that I've spent tons of money on the books that I bought was because, yes, the information is available online, but it would take me months of research to compile all of that information and combine it into one nice document. Whereas the books that I have spent that have been quite pricey, it's in one nice, neat little book, and it's right at my fingertips. So for me personally, saving my time is worth more than the $200 that this book would cost. And that brings me to the first point, which is my absolute favorite part about this book, and this is the appendix at the back of the book. At the back of the book, he has a serving size calculator, and I really, really like what he did. Instead of doing a 100-gram serving size, he equated the serving size to the calories. So he has 100 calorie servings and how much of a specific food you can eat to do that. And I'm going to include a screenshot right up over here to a portion of that. But the reason I really, really like this is because rather than going 100 grams of X food equals X amount of calories, he broke it down by caloric consumption. So you have every single serving is equal to 100 calories. And for me personally, there are 32 fruits listed in here, 55 vegetables, so 87 total foods are listed in that appendix. And if I were to do the research on myself, go on nutrition data, input all of the numbers into an Excel spreadsheet, it would take me a lot longer than 1 minute per food item to log all of that. So that's a total of 87 minutes if it takes me 1 minute to do that. And I charge $200 per hour for my coaching clients and also for my therapy patients. So If it's going to save me more than an hour of time, then it's definitely worth the $200. So for me, the appendix at the back of the book is worth the $200 in itself, even though I don't plan on using any of the recipes or giving them to any of my clients. And I've actually sent the appendix to my coaching clients. I have a few that follow the keto diet, and what I'll do is I'll send them that appendix and I'll tell them, on days where you're absolutely starving, you just want to eat everything in sight, eat the vegetables and fruits that are at the top of the list because those are the least calorically dense. And then on days where you're not really hungry, you just want to eat something that tastes good or just fill yourself up with some type of nutrients, then eat the foods at the bottom because those ones are more highly caloric dense. But aside from that, what exactly is your goal? Because I'm sure your goal is not to look at the appendix and save some time. Most people are going to have one of three goals. You're going to have millions of goals, but it's going to fall into one of these three broad categories. People either want to look better, feel better, or perform better. Now, when it comes to looking better, is the Anabolic Cookbook going to help you look better? Well, what exactly are you trying to achieve? Let's say that in terms of looking better, your main objective is you want to either lose weight or lose fat. Well, to lose fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit. If you're in a caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight. There's absolutely no way around that, no matter what people in the carnivore or keto community will tell you. So with regard to losing weight, if you are the type of person where you have a very, very strong appetite, all of the foods in this book are very low calorie dense. So it's going to be able to fill you up and still have a low amount of calories in the servings. So if you are the type of person where you want to lose weight and you have a very, very big appetite, then yes, this book is going to be worth the money because it's going to help you achieve that goal of losing weight. What if you want to build muscle? Well, if you want to build muscle, there are two requirements to building muscle. You need an adequate amount of protein and you need some type of external stimulus. In terms of the external stimulus, that is going to be your training program. And if you guys need a training program, I can include a link right up over here to a playlist of over 8 hours worth of program design videos that I have. But back to the actual cookbook. In order to build muscle, you need an adequate amount of protein. And all of the recipes in this book are going to be pretty high on the protein side of things. So if you are trying to build muscle and you have a very, very big appetite, then this book would absolutely help because you're going to be able to hit your protein requirements and you're going to be able to get in the calories that you need. And then what if you want to do both? You want to lose fat and you want to build muscle? Well, if you want to lose fat while simultaneously building muscle, what you need is you need your levels of muscle protein synthesis to exceed that of your muscle protein breakdown. And in order to do that, you need to make sure you're getting enough protein because your protein requirements are going to come in a range, and that range is going to be anywhere from 0.8 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. That's assuming you're at a normal weight. But if you're in a caloric deficit because you want to lose weight and you want to build muscle, you're going to want to get closer to that 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So if you are trying to lose muscle or if you are trying to lose fat while simultaneously building muscle, then this book could absolutely help because you're going to be able to get a lot of protein in and you're going to be able to minimize your calories. Now, what if you are somebody who is underweight and you want to either gain weight or gain fat and you have a very, very small appetite? For those types of individuals, then this book is not going to be worth the money, and I wouldn't recommend it because for those types of individuals, if you are trying to gain weight or fat and you have a very small appetite, you're not going to want to eat low-calorie dense foods. Rather, you're going to want to eat high-calorie dense foods and more specifically, high-nutrient dense foods because if you eat low-calorie dense foods, a lot of times it's going to be accompanied by low-nutrient intake as well. So you would want to consume high-nutrient-rich foods and also high-calorie dense foods if you are trying to gain weight, as in either gain fat or gain just weight in general. And then what if you are trying to build muscle, but you have a very small appetite or you have a very, very high energy expenditure? For that type of individual, I also would not recommend this book because I don't think it's going to be worth the money. And I had somebody reach out to me recently where they have a very rare medical condition where their energy expenditure is ridiculously insane. The person that reached out to me needs 7,000 calories a day just to maintain their weight. So to consume 7,000 calories from low-calorie dense foods, it's going to be next to impossible. So once again, for that type of goal and that type of individual, you would be better off consuming high nutrient dense foods and also high calorie dense foods. And that's pretty much it in terms of looking better. Let's say it is your main objective to feel better. Well, with regard to feeling better, what exactly do you want to feel better? Let's say you have joint pain. If you have joint pain and your joint pain is directly related to your weight, if losing weight will help alleviate your joint pain because it's going to take some of the pressure off your joints, then yes, this book is going to be worth the money because it's going to help alleviate your joint pain. Let's say you have low energy. If your low energy is due to your weight, then once again, if this book allows you to be in a calorie deficit, lose some weight, and it's going to improve your energy, then yes, it's going to be worth the money because it's going to help you accomplish your goal. Same thing with respiratory issues. A lot of people who are very, very heavy are going to develop respiratory issues. So if you do have respiratory issues and it is directly related to your weight, then yes, this book will be worth the money. And then lastly, what if you are on a specialty diet? Well, it's going to depend on the specialty diet. If you are somebody who is following a vegetarian diet, there are 107 recipes in this book that are all vegetarian. I counted them myself and I double checked. So trust me on that, 107 recipes. So if you do the math, a $200 cookbook with 107 recipes, that equals 54 cents per recipe. So if you are a vegetarian and you want to incorporate some low-calorie dense foods into your meal plan, then these recipes are going to average out to 54 cents each. And then if you are a vegan, there are only 11 vegan options in this cookbook. So a $200 cookbook with 11 recipes, it equals $18.18 per recipe. It's quite pricey, but those 11 vegan recipes, if you find that you're going to be able to enjoy those and they're going to help you accomplish your goals, then the $18 is definitely going to be worth the money if it helps you accomplish your goals. Now, let's get into some people who want to feel better that this book is not going to be appropriate for. Number one is joint pain, not related to weight gain. Let's say you have joint pain and your joint pain is due to an autoimmune disease, something like rheumatoid arthritis. One of my patients has rheumatoid arthritis, and if he even looks at gluten, he's going to get a flare-up and he's going to have really, really bad joint pain. So if you do have joint pain and it is due to something like rheumatoid arthritis or some type of autoimmune disease, then I would not recommend getting this book. You would want to do something like paleo or something where you are eating minimally processed foods and more whole foods instead. Same thing with digestive issues. With regard to digestion, a lot of my patients and a lot of my clients come to me with digestive issues, and a lot of times the most common allergens you're going to see are going to be wheat, dairy, eggs, artificial sweeteners, guar gum is another one, and all of these are going to be foods that are found in abundance in the Anabolic Cookbook. So if you do have digestive issues, once again, I would opt for doing something whole foods based, something like a paleo style of eating as opposed to the Anabolic Cookbook. And then with regard to digestive issues, what if you have an autoimmune disease and that is the reason for your digestive issues? Something like myself, I have ulcerative colitis. So ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, celiac, for those conditions over there, you absolutely would not want to purchase this cookbook, because if you do have an autoimmune condition like ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, or celiac disease, then ideally you would want to eat as whole food rich as possible. So something like a paleo style once again. And I found that in my own practice, people that do have autoimmune conditions, they do tend to do better on average when they tend to minimize their carbohydrate consumption and stick to more just vegetables. But things like grains and sugars and all that type of stuff, artificial sweeteners, they're not going to do really well on that. So if you do have an autoimmune disease that is causing impaired digestion, then you would not want to get the Anabolic Cookbook. And then what if you have a skin issue? Let's say you have a skin issue related to an autoimmune condition, something like psoriasis. Once again, it's an inflammatory condition, so you would want to stay away from the Anabolic Cookbook and incorporate more whole foods and try to minimize things like grains and sugars and incorporate more fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, meats, fish, those types of foods. And then lastly, what if you have in general an inflammatory disease? For inflammatory diseases, once again, whole foods and paleo would be preferable as opposed to eating things that have a lot of artificial sweeteners and high amounts of sugar and grains. And then lastly, what if you are on a specialty diet such as you're eating gluten-free, dairy-free, paleo, keto, carnivore? If you are on one of those types of diets, then this book is not going to be really good for you, because none of the foods in the book are really going to be applicable to your diet, and it's going to be a waste of money. But if you are the type of person where you are on a gluten-free diet or dairy-free, paleo, keto, anything like that, I wouldn't recommend this book. And then lastly, what if it is your main objective to perform better? Well, what aspect of performance are you trying to improve? When it comes to performance, there are 8 biomotor abilities required for athletic performance. Those 8 biomotor abilities are going to be speed, strength, power, endurance, flexibility, agility, coordination, and balance. And I'm going to be focusing on 6 out of those 8. I'm not going to really focus on coordination or balance, because those ones don't really have anything to do with diet. And now that I said they don't have anything to do with diet, that's a lie, because at the end of the day, if you feel better, you're going to perform better. So assuming that the Anabolic Cookbook is not going to make you feel worse and it's going to make you feel better, then your actual diet itself, these are some of the things that the Anabolic Cookbook can help with. Number one, let's say you want to increase your speed. You want to be a little bit faster. The lighter you are, the faster you're going to be. So if you do wish to increase your speed, then the Anabolic Cookbook could help, because it's going to make it easier for you to be in a caloric deficit, which is going to help you bring your weight down, which is going to make you faster. Then, what if you want to increase your strength? Well, if you want to increase your relative strength, then the Anabolic Cookbook will help, because relative strength is a strength to weight ratio. If you can maintain your level of strength but decrease your weight, your relative strength is going to increase. So the Anabolic Cookbook, it's going to make it easier for you to be in a caloric deficit, which means it's going to be easier to increase your relative strength, because if you can maintain your strength and decrease your weight, then your relative strength will increase. Same thing with power. If you are trying to increase your relative power, it's a weight to power ratio. So if you can maintain your power but decrease your weight, then the Anabolic Cookbook will help, because it's going to allow you to be in a caloric deficit easier, which is going to help you to lose some weight. And then same thing with regard to endurance. If you do want to improve your endurance, generally your endurance is going to be improved if you are lighter. The lighter you are, the more endurance you're going to have. And once again, the Anabolic Cookbook will help you to lose weight and make you a little bit lighter, which will help to improve your endurance. And then with flexibility, this one, same thing. Generally, the lighter you are, it's going to be a little bit easier to be more flexible. So if getting more flexible is one of your main objectives and you don't have any issues with inflammation, then definitely you could pick up this cookbook, because it's going to help you lose weight. And when you lose weight, it should help you to improve your flexibility. And then lastly, agility. Agility is essentially the ability to move quickly and easily. So the lighter you are, the more agile you are going to be. So if you do wish to improve your agility, then yes, the Anabolic Cookbook is going to be worth the money. Now, with regard to performance, who should not buy the cookbook? Well, number one, if you are trying to increase your absolute strength. Absolute strength means you want to be as strong as you possibly can be. So your weight is completely irrelevant. If you want to be as strong as you can be, mass moves mass. So you're going to have to increase your weight. And in order to increase your weight, you're going to want to be in a caloric surplus. And high calorie dense foods and high nutrient dense foods are going to be optimal for that goal. So if you do wish to increase your absolute strength, then I wouldn't recommend the Anabolic Cookbook. Instead, I would recommend something that has more high calorie dense foods in it. Something like a keto style or a carnivore, something like that. And then lastly, what about power? If you are trying to increase your absolute power, same thing. The bigger you are, the more power you're going to be able to generate. It's a strength and speed type of a thing. So if you are stronger and you are faster, you're going to be able to generate more power. And again, the bigger you are, the stronger you are. You're going to be faster when you're lighter, but you're going to be stronger when you're bigger. So your absolute power is definitely going to increase if you are a little bit heavier. So if you are trying to increase your absolute power, then I would not recommend the Anabolic Cookbook, because it's very low calorie dense foods, and it's going to make it really hard for you to pack on the pounds to be able to get your weight up a little bit more, to be able to generate a lot more power. But those are just a few of the goals that may or may not be beneficial for you in terms of purchasing the Anabolic Cookbook. If it is your goal to either lose weight, if you want to alleviate any type of pains that are related to being excessively overweight, or if you want to improve your performance and losing weight will help you to improve your performance, then buy it. However, if you want to gain weight, if you have any type of autoimmune condition or any type of digestive issue, or if you are trying to increase your absolute strength or absolute power, I would not recommend the Anabolic Cookbook. But that's pretty much my 2 cents on the Anabolic Cookbook. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to keep making these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.